Let me say this. I didn't file bankruptcy because I was broke. I filed bankruptcy because I wanted peace.
You gotta do it again.
All right, I got you. So shouts out to Arailyus and Arailyus Kingdom. But so if you ever do your YouTube intro, your content, whatever, it'll be like ARAILYUSK.
I love it.
I think it's fire.
So, I want to start this video out by saying this may be a trigger warning because I will be talking about mental illness and self-harm. So, if that's not your thing, yeah, you might not want to watch this video, but I just wanted to let you know that. And also, what I'm not doing as well, I'm not glorifying bankruptcy either. I'm not trying to glorify the struggle or anything like that. I'm just talking about my perspective and what happened with me. So, all right. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hey, I am Arailyus. I consider myself a socially awkward creative. I create content about all kind of stuff. So I always ask that you watch this video and maybe a couple other videos while you edit. Fill out my vibe, cause girl, boy, it can be a lot. But if you like my vibe, I would love to have you as part of the family. And if you are coming back for another video, hey, thank you so much for coming back for another video. It means the world to me. It truly does. So you guys, as you can tell by the title, this is gonna be a TMI video, but I look at this as a testimony. Again, as I said in my little disclaimer, I'm not glorifying bankruptcy, the struggle, you know, trying to get over. It's nothing like that, but I do believe that, especially in the Black community, like I would say society as a whole, but I honestly believe it's more just like in the Black community. We look at bankruptcy as like, oh my God, like just the end all be all, like it just ends your life. And I mean, while there are challenges, yes, right? But it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I just wanted to say that too. I wanted to make this video. I have been trying to make this video for so long. And if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, I live with a lot of mental disorders, and for the last 15 months, I have been on my celibacy journey. So spiritually, mentally, I've been going through a lot. Like, I've just been going through a lot, and I'm gonna tell you how the story started, right? There was this guy. That's all you need to know, right? I was living in Florida and I met this guy who lived in Georgia, and I did not know him, did not know nothing about him. Long story short, I moved to Georgia for him, right? But I have to back up just a little bit because there's a very important part that goes here. I prayed about it. I asked God for a sign, right? Should I do it? The sign was absolutely not. No, don't go anywhere, Arailyus. That he specifically told me no. And Arailyus being Arailyus, I went anyway. And it's crazy because 6 months later, I was in the mental hospital because I tried to OD. Yeah. So my story is a story in obedience. God told me not to go to Georgia, and I went anyway, and it's crazy. A lot of stuff happened. And the problem is that because I've always had a relationship with God, but I'll be honest, I was a lukewarm Christian. Like, I'll be honest, right? I've always talked to God. I've always had a relationship with God. I grew up in the church, right? On my mom and my dad's side, we were very much churchy people, right? So I've always known about God, but you gotta experience life for yourself. My relationship with God at that time, I think I was just at a place I didn't have peace. And it was my fault that I didn't have peace. I want to try not to make this too long, but I kind of want to make sure I make my point to kind of try to pull the whole story together. I use ChatGPT when I do my content a lot of times, so I told her to give me kind of like a outline to make sure I hit all my points. Not so much like a script, but just an outline to make sure I say everything. And I ain't even been looking, but yeah, I did say all that. So yeah, I moved back to Georgia in 2019, the end of 2019. And for 5 years, I went through storm after storm. And I'm gonna be completely honest, it's only because of my celibacy journey. Like, people tell me all the time, like, I'm very, very, very honest, right? And my celibacy journey has made me even more honest. And it's only because of my celibacy journey that I finally accepted that I'm neurodivergent, right? I did not want that. I did not want that diagnosis. It's crazy because, I have a bipolar disorder diagnosis, BPD, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, depression. I have those type, but something about neurodivergence, because I'm from the South, y'all, if y'all can't tell. And, when people... We didn't call it neurodivergence. We called people slow, right? And I didn't want to be considered slow, right? So even though I knew I was, I would not accept it. I just would not accept it. And that continued, like I said, up until my celibacy journey, that I finally just accepted, Arailyus, you are who you are, right? God made you on purpose with the purpose. So you're not a mistake. Like, there are so many things that my celibacy journey taught me. And a lot of it was just, I do have mental disorders, but a lot of what I deal with is trauma, and it's also spiritual warfare. And all of that together, it's a very toxic combination. And it's rough. It's really, really rough. I make mental health content, because I want people to know that it really is rough. Like, this shit is rough. Like, I know we all on social media, we all love to paint a beautiful picture, but baby, that's not me. That's not my life. Like, that has never been me, even though I pretended to be that. Baby, my celibacy journey has me at the place where this is me. This is me. I cannot pretend to be somebody that I'm not anymore. And that went along with the neurodivergence or being slow, right? I just have to constantly tell myself over and over again, Arailyus, there's nothing wrong with you. God made you on purpose with a purpose. He knew how he wanted you to be. He knew what he wanted your personality to be like. He knew that he wanted you to have these little quirks. And you know, these little things that you just like. He knew that he was gonna make you creative. He knew that he was gonna make you inquisitive. He also knew he was gonna make you sapiosexual, love learning, love intelligence. Like, when people talk about fetishes, I don't like to look at it that way, but it is like that. An intelligent man who knows how to speak and is not talking bullshit, but is really, really speaking, like, that just does it for me. But, you know, I have learned through my celibacy journey that I couldn't be perfect. I couldn't be everything that I wanted to be. I had to have some good and some bad. There had to be balance, right? And again, it's all because of my celibacy journey that I am at that place. Me filing bankruptcy, I'm sorry, I'm skipping around, but I'm going back to the story. It kind of started with, I initially had an aunt, right? Q5. Cute. That was my girl. I loved her, right? Yeah. When I left the Atlanta area and moved to Middle Georgia, I got a Mercedes. Child, I don't even remember. I got that, and I really did not like that truck. I'm not gonna lie, but I got her. I had her for a little while, maybe a year, a little over a year after having her. I realized that I did not need to drive an expensive truck to prove that I was somebody, right? So it kind of started with that. You know, I got rid of the Mercedes. I am now driving a Nissan, and I love her, and the car payment is so much lower. My house that I was living in, I did love my house. I personally, and I do think I talked about this in another video, but I personally had never lived in a new build, and even though I was kind of warned, like, it's not all what you think it is, but unfortunately, I'm one of those people that just have to find things out the hard way. And if it's an experience that I've never had and it's something that I really want to do, and where I am mentally, you know, I feel like I work really hard for everything that I have. So in my mind, I'm like, well, if I can afford it, why not? You know, so I did the new build, and I loved her. She was cute. I got to customize a lot of things in her, but very, very, very shortly after moving in there, I started noticing problems. That was that. You know, that's kind of what I was warned of, you know, because they build those houses. Look, let me tell y'all a quick little story, right? We be swearing stuff be mean and stuff, right? So, I remember when I first bought that house, right? It was another house that I was looking at, and they tried to scam me. So, you know, I walked away from that and went to this other house, my current house, right? Because when I first saw these homes, I was like, oh my God, I fell in love with them. You know, it was a beautiful home. I'll probably add some pictures. It was a beautiful home, but those people, before they even broke the ground, before they did anything, they told me when my closing date was. And my closing date was my birthday, right? July 18, 2003, right? So, you know, I was like, oh my God, it was meant to be. This is my home, you know, and all this or whatever. You know how we do. We swear things, mean things, right? And because, you know, it was something I never experienced, something I wanted. I will say that I am very much impatient. I'm trying to work on that. And I was living in an apartment at the time that I absolutely hated. It's not a thing where I feel like I'm better than anybody else, but baby, after you have lived in a house, it's hard to go and live in an apartment after you have lived in a house. Call me stuck up, bougie, whatever you want to call me. It is a serious, to go from a house to an apartment, that's just major to me. That's a hard adjustment. So I was in that apartment and I was ready to go. So I'm not gonna lie, I was seeing stuff along the way, and this is how these things happen. Like, this is God talking to me in real time, because this is gonna be a testimony for somebody. But I saw the red flags. Like, I would go and look at my house every week. That was kind of like my little Sunday treat until my house was done, right? And I mean, I was seeing stuff like little cracks in the ceilings, nails sticking out. Like, I would just see all kind of stuff. But in my mind, I was like, I just want to get out that apartment. I just want to get out that apartment. Like, that's all I was thinking. And yeah, very shortly after moving into my house, I started having issues, and those issues just got worse and worse and worse. And unfortunately, owners sold the property, so it's like we couldn't get service orders done. We have like a little Facebook group, where we talk about, anybody heard about this going on with your house, and stuff like that. And my subdivision, it's like there was an old part, like a phase 1, which was like the front of the subdivision. The second part, newer part, which is where I was. I mean, I'm telling you, I felt so special. I was the first house on my street. Like, I got to see my whole little neighborhood get built. It was cute. I really enjoyed it. I loved that experience. But at the same time, my house was falling apart, right? It was just crazy. And my depression, it just, child, mentally, Georgia was rough for me. Georgia was really, really rough for me. But like I said at the beginning, God told me not to go. So at the end of the day, can I really blame God for the things that happened to me? Really, I can't, right? God is a just God. He's a good God. He's a loving God. And although he has to teach us a lesson, especially if we don't ever learn the lesson, we end up repeating the same cycles over and over, right? Although God has to teach us a lesson, right? He is a good God. He's just, and he's still going to take care of us, right? Especially if we're still trying to do right. So whereas I fell apart mentally, physically, spiritually, financially in Georgia, God still rebuilt me. Shortly after that first hospitalization is when I moved to the Atlanta area. I moved to Henry County, and I got my job working with the VA again. And I have been there in total, I think I've been at the VA in total like 9 or 10 years, right? That's a very long time for me. But my particular job, I got, I think in 2021, I got my job. And initially it was in the office job, 5 days a week in Atlanta, Georgia. And that slowly transitioned, into a temporary work from home. And then for me and my specific situation, that turned into a permanent work from home situation. Mm-hmm. So God definitely blessed me, with my job, which is why I am able to relocate and still have my job. And actually, because I'm in the city again, I get a little boost in locality, so. But yes, I still have my job. God is good. What caused the bankruptcy? I know you like, girl, you said bankruptcy and they said that about it. So without going into too much detail, because child, we'll be here all day trying to tell the story. Basically, I tried to help out a family member and it backfired on me, right? And now I will not put all the blame on them, that I had to file bankruptcy, but after that happened, I was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to pay for it, right? They wasn't paying for it and I wasn't going to pay for it. So I was just kind of like, not F it, but I mean, at this point, what can I do? Because I refused. There was no way. There was no way that I was going to pay somebody else's bill. No way. So that was like, the financial reset, the bankruptcy. I was paying too much for my lifestyle. A lifestyle that I felt like I needed, and I just slowly started having less. And the other part, to my home is that although she was beautiful, she was really big. And it's crazy because in my mind, I didn't think, looking on paper, 1,800 square feet, in my mind, I'm like, that's not that big. But it really is. That was a really big house. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. I added the screen-in patio, all this or whatever. It was a nice house, but it was a lot of house. It was a lot for one person. I did it at one time. I had like a cleaner that was coming in, but I was like, child, I can't afford it. And I reached out to the VA. I am a veteran. And they got me a home health aide. And that did not work out at all. Oh my God, that did not work out. And I just ultimately realized I just had too much space. Like, it was just too much space. I talked about this in another video as well. I was doing so much to that house to try to make it my own. I was trying to be creative. I did the little projects here and there, just to try to make myself want to stay there, but I just didn't. I'm not going to say I could have had anything I wanted, but depending on what it was, I could have had almost anything I wanted, and it just did not make me want to stay in that house. And I had told God, I was like, God, let me just be able to be a snowbird, right? I knew that I wanted to move back to Florida. I had wanted to move back to Florida ever since that relationship ended, but financially, I couldn't afford it. Like I said, also at the time, my job was still in the office. My job didn't become fully remote for me until last year. And then y'all know I work for the government. They made everybody come back in the office, but I have a thing called reasonable accommodations. So that's why I permanently get to work from home. So, I mean, I just wasn't at a place where I could move back to Florida, but I really wanted to. I wanted to move back to Florida, but Florida is expensive. Florida is very, very expensive. When I left Florida in 2019, the same apartment that I would have paid $1,600 for in 2019 is now the same apartment. No updates, no upgrades or nothing. The same apartment is now being listed for like $2,300. Right? Florida is expensive. I hate that, this is where I find my peace and where my heart is, because it is very much expensive, So even after my job became remote, I still couldn't afford it because it was so much more. God is good because, during this time, I had began my celibacy journey, and I had, started being serious about God, and, and God was working on me, through me, and I was reaping the benefits. I was seeing the difference, I was praying for things and they were happening. God was making me aware of every time when Satan would come with a distraction, because that's literally what all these things ended up being. And that was a blessing in itself. Before my celibacy journey, the only time I would realize that this was a distraction, it would literally be almost too late. Like, I have stressed out. I done called everybody. I have literally, as they say, crashed out, and just done all the things. Whereas now I can tell when, okay, this is just a distraction. Celibacy, although hard, and it's not even the physical part of it. The sex part is not the hardest part of celibacy. And I always have to say that because I know a lot of people just like me thought that celibacy was you just stop having sex, right? But baby, it's so much more to it. It's so much deeper. Your relationship with God, it gets so much closer. Like, it gets so much deeper. I'm at a place. I made a post today and I was like, I'm literally at a place where I can ask God a question and God will answer me. Now, no, not verbally, but I'll either watch a sermon, or a lot of times it came from sermons. It's not that often that I scroll on social media and see an answer to a question, but I watch a lot of sermons. Pastor Jerry Flowers is one of my favorites. I just started listening to Tony Evans. I love Nona Jones. Those are kind of my three that I really like. So those are kind of that's kind of what I try to listen to, that's the kind of mindset that I try to be in, because you know how when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for the 40 days, that's literally what celibacy is like. And it's every single day is something. I mean, every single day. Every single day is something. And the thing about it, a lot of times it's not just one thing. I call it death by 1,000 cuts. When it's this happened, then that happened, then that happened, and you already upset, and then you walk and you stump your toe, and oh my God, you just crashed the hell out, right? Celibacy is rough. It's very, very rough. And I don't say that to try to scare anybody. I just say that so that people know it's not easy. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't have an end date in mind. I just want what God wants of me. If a guy comes along, whatever, but I want to work on me. I could literally have the man of my dreams, but if I'm not mentally ready to accept him, I'm going to disrupt that relationship. I'm going to sabotage that relationship. Everybody has been talking about Ayesha Curry, Steph Curry's wife, and they're some girl was saying, for some people, when you're so used to drama and craziness, when you finally found a person that is safe or is your peace, you get bored. And even though peace is what you thought you wanted, it could really be what you want. But I'm a little nerd, y'all, so I be researching stuff like this. It's kind of with trauma, right? I am in a place where spiritually I'm good. Physically, I'm good. Happy. I'm excited, right? I'm stepping into my new journey, right? I'm so happy with life. But instead of my body finally relaxing, my body is still on edge. It's still waiting for the other shoe to fall. Everything else has gone according to plan. I'm still holding my breath, right? And those are some of the things that trauma does. It's your body doesn't recognize that you're not in the fight or flight mode anymore. Your mind and your body doesn't understand that we're safe now. And especially when that trauma has lasted for a very, very, very long time. And that's literally all you know. That is what celibacy is doing for me. It literally is God cleaning me from the inside out. Literally, that's what it is. A spiritual cleanse. And just like any other cleanse, baby, it's painful. It hurts. It's very uncomfortable. It's every single day. Like, just, it's crazy. But the clarity, the mental clarity that I have, the peace that I have, me being celibate right now, it kind of takes me back to my childhood where I used to spend a lot of time by myself because people didn't want me around. And I used to just get creative. I would just create my own little fun, right? And that's kind of how I feel with celibacy. You know, I chose to self-isolate because I felt like that was best for me, and it has definitely been working for me. It's rough. Everything that I've gone through with my celibacy, it's all been worth it. It has made me the woman that I am now. I have learned to clap for myself. I don't need the world's approval. I don't need people to say, Arailyus, you're good. Arailyus, you did that. Arailyus, your outfit look good. Arailyus, your flow, your little rhymes, your little 1, 2, 1, 2s, girl, they be hitting. And your outfit, I don't need that anymore, believe it or not. I mean, I'm not a hypocrite, so of course I love to hear those things. But through my celibacy journey, I have learned that I don't need that. I don't need the world's validation because I have it from God. Through my celibacy, I have learned that I don't ever have to go viral on social media because going viral on social media is not going to get me into heaven. That is what celibacy has done for me. I'm a little creative. And because of that, like, me starting over, me walking away from people, family, friends, people I loved, my kids, I mean, everybody. I'm, of course, not going to go into it in this video, but baby, sometimes family really, they be the worst. They are worse than enemies. The way that your family treats you, that's how they feel about you. Your family, I feel like, shapes your identity and who you are as a person and who you grow up to be as an adult. Like I said, I always knew I was different, but I did not think there was anything wrong with me until I was shown that being me made me get treated differently, if that makes sense. I always knew I was creative, and I thought my creativity was cool. And it's like every time I tried to showcase my creativity, there was always somebody to come in and try to knock me down, you know. And unfortunately, that was the kind of family I grew up in, and it did change me as a person. It made me not believe in myself because, I mean, damn near my whole family made me feel like I was wrong for being different. And the fact that I had the audacity to talk about it, like mental illness, how dare you talk about mental illness, Arailyus? How dare you embarrass our family by telling people that you have depression and you wanted to unalive yourself? And like, how dare you embarrass the family like that? But you know what? Without going too deep, that's the problem with Black families nowadays, because we love to try to shun people who are different, who don't go along with the norm. Like, anybody who goes against what everybody else is cool with, you're the black sheep. You're the reject.
Don't nobody like her. Don't nobody believe her. She's a liar. Y'all know that girl crazy.
It is all the negative things about you because you don't go along with they foolishness. But you know what? Again, through my celibacy journey, I have learned I'm a lot like my family, unfortunately, on both sides. So when I talk about things, I don't talk about them in a demeaning way against anybody else, or like to make other people feel like they're less than, because baby, I got flaws too. A lot of times when I speak or when I write my posts or whatever, I say things like we or I or Arailyus. Like I'm not judging nobody, cause baby, I got some stories, some stuff, right? And unfortunately, it took a very, very, very long time for me to finally find myself again. And oh God, I feel the anxiety. And that is all because of God and my celibacy journey. And I'm going to try to end this because I don't want to make this too long. At the end of the day, starting over is not always a bad thing. It's not. Hey, Bookie. Especially when you're starting over with different knowledge. Say hey. Say hey. Ooh, my little Bookie boo. She is a little bougie kitty. That is my baby. This is my family, me and Vixen. My new beginning, and it's me, Vixen, and God. And I'm okay with that. I like to compare my life to Bible characters. And so I do feel like Job, because through celibacy, God literally stripped everything from me. As I said, I have a BPD, borderline personality disorder diagnosis, and it's really a personality thing. I used to always say the cure for BPD was attention. And through my celibacy journey, when I began my celibacy journey, God took that away. He took away all the attention, especially from the guys. Ooh. He took the attention away from the guys, and then all the girls started hating me. All the girls that used to support me and like my posts and come in and, tag me. All the girls that used to do that, they don't like my posts no more. They don't follow me no more. They don't F with me no more. In their eyes, I fell off. Because no matter what you do to try to better your life, other people will always find it your fault. They're not gonna say, oh, that's so great that she finally found her way. They gonna be like, oh, she thinks she better than other folks now. She had to get away from everybody. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's never, yay, she finally got it. It's, oh, she thinks she better than everybody now. And I'm telling you, it's all because of my celibacy journey that I have come to these realizations and am actually able, and I'm not afraid to speak on them because I don't have anybody anymore, so I don't have to worry about losing anybody. God already took everybody away from me. And you know what they say about a habit, after 28 days, baby, you get used to that. So I'm used to not having nobody, and I won't lie, it does make things really, really hard at times, especially, like I say, living with multiple mental disorders. Not having help is really hard, but God is always with me. He has always been carrying me, so I'm just eternally grateful to him. I'm just gonna look through this. I think I said everything that I needed to say. Yes, Arailyus is starting a new journey, and I'm just so excited. What I did say, I said the bankruptcy didn't break me, it built me. I lost everything I thought I needed, and I gained everything I truly needed: peace, discipline, and purpose. I realized that sometimes God has to reset your life completely so he can rebuild it the right way. And then I said, perfection isn't the goal, obedience is. And I'm glad I said that because that was something I wanted to say. I have not gone viral. I have not made a penny from social media this whole year. I am where I am in life because of God, because of my obedience. God rewarded my obedience of surrendering to him and to just keep trusting him and to not give up. And I know that is why Satan fights me so hard, because normally I give up. But baby, I don't have much longer on this earth. I can't keep giving up. You know, I gotta finally get it right, you know, before my life is over. So just every time that I get mad at myself, you know, when I finally get something, you know, like, damn it, it took me this long to get this. I always remind myself, already somebody didn't. Yes, it took you a long time to get here, but somebody never did. Somebody left this earth with regret that they never lived the life that they wanted, that they never got to do things that they wanted to. Like, there are so many people with so many regrets, and as long as I still got some breath in my lungs, you know, my body is trying to break down mentally, you know, it's a lot that I'm dealing with. Being in Florida, it didn't, you know, like a magic pill take my issues away. But at the same time, I have peace being here, you know. I'm going to end on that. And I want to close by saying I started over at 44, not because I failed, but because I finally surrendered. The wilderness was necessary, but baby, the promised land looks good on me. I am Arailyus, socially awkward creative. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you come along this journey. And I mean, I was very, very much vulnerable. And what I have told myself is that, you know, even if no one sees this video, the fact that I just got everything out, I said what I needed to say, you know, if no one likes this post, likes my video, did I still not find my happiness? Right? It's all about your perspective. Thank you for watching. If you want to come along this journey, I would love to have you here. Yeah. Bye. This was something I forgot I needed to say too about the bankruptcy. Like I said, yes, there are some negatives to having a bankruptcy, especially an open bankruptcy like a Chapter 13, because that shows on your credit report that you're still in a bankruptcy, and a lot of places will not rent to you. A lot of places will not. And I'm gonna put you in my business just a little bit. So, yes, I was able to find a place. They did want more money, but you know what? I serve a big God, right? And I stood on business, and I was able to negotiate that rate. And I'm so proud of myself for that. So I don't know who needs to hear that. Like, yes, a bankruptcy can cause a lot of issues, you know, higher interest rate, extra deposits, whatever, you know, they can ask for all kind of stuff when, you know, you don't have the right kind of, you know, the right credit, or when you have bad credit or a bankruptcy or whatever. But I don't know. I'm really smart, and every situation is different, but it was the way that the situation was presented to myself, and I literally gave them a Hail Mary. I literally was like, they gonna either say yes or they gonna say no. And I basically was like, this is all I can do. If they say no, baby, that's it. I will walk away. And again, I was taking the chance, because they very much could have been like, no, I don't care, right? But God is good. It worked in my favor. So yeah, I most definitely did want to add that in there, just in case anybody was wondering. What are you doing? What are you doing? That little girl is so weird. But I'm sorry. But yeah, I wanted to add that in.